Shalom, children. In our story last time, Yeshua had taken a meal with his taught ones. He made a very powerful statement, saying he was the way, the truth, and the life. Afterwards, they had left to go out to the Mount of Olives. As they walked together, Yeshua explained how he was the vine, his disciples were the vine branches, and the Father was the gardener, pruning away any dead branches. Our story continues today, with Yeshua and the taught ones journeying on to the Mount of Olives. He didn't want them to be afraid about what was going to happen to them, so he told them, "I have spoken about all these things to you, so that you will have peace. In the world you will have tribulation, but be of good cheer, for I have overcome the world." Yeshua lifted his eyes up to heaven and prayed, "Father, the hour has come. Glorify your Son, so that your Son may also glorify you. I have finished the work you gave me to do. I have declared your name to the men you gave me out of the world. I have given them the words which you gave to me, and they have received them. I pray now, keep them from evil." They finally arrived at a garden on the Mount of Olives called Gethsemane, or the Olive Press. Yeshua told them to sit whilst he went off to pray elsewhere in the garden. When away from the group, he cried out to the Father in grief, "My soul is very sorrowful, even unto death. O Abba, Father, if it is possible, let this cup pass from me. Nevertheless, not what I will, but what you will." At that, a messenger from heaven appeared to Yeshua and strengthened him. He got up from the ground and went over to the taught ones and found them fast asleep. He woke them up, saying, "Let's go. The one who is going to betray me is approaching." Whilst he was still speaking, Yehudas arrived at the garden, followed by a very big group of men carrying swords. Oh dear, it looks like there is going to be trouble. Previously, when Yehudas had approached the Kohanim and sages, offering to help trap Yeshua, he had told them that they often went to the Garden of Gethsemane. He thought this would make a very good place to arrest his rabbi, as they would be far away from any crowds. Yehudas had advised them he would greet Yeshua with a kiss, in order for them to know which man to arrest. That way they could take him away quietly. Well, wasn't that a sneaky plan? Pretending to be all friendly, when in reality he was scheming to have Yeshua arrested. He had become rather like those hypocritical Pharisees. Do you remember? They were compared to cups, all nice and clean on the outside, but inside they were full of wickedness and greed. As planned, Yehudas went up to Yeshua, saying, "Greetings, Master," as he kissed him on the cheek. Yeshua remarked, "Yehudas, do you betray the Son of Man with a kiss?" The taught ones quickly realized what was happening and became afraid. Shimon Kipha took out his sword and struck out at one of the men, cutting his ear clean off. Yeshua quickly instructed Shimon to put his sword away, telling him, "The Father has given me the cup to drink." You see, Yeshua had just prayed to the Father, asking if it was possible for him to take the cup away. But he had then declared he would do the will of the Father, even if it meant drinking this cup of suffering he was about to endure. Yeshua told Shimon, "I could pray to the Father, and he would immediately send me an army from heaven to rescue me." Yeshua bent over the hurt man and healed his ear completely. Some of the men with swords roughly grabbed hold of Yeshua in order to take him away. Looking at the Pharisees who were stood nearby, Yeshua remarked, "Why do you come for me with swords and treat me like a thief? I was sat with you every day in the set-apart place, and yet no one seized me when I was out in the open." You see, children, wicked deeds are often carried out under the cover of darkness. Perhaps we think we can get away with doing something wrong when no one sees us doing it. But the scriptures tell us otherwise. King Solomon wrote, "For Adonai will bring every work into judgment, including every secret thing, whether good or evil." And Yeshua had told the disciples, "There is nothing covered that will not be revealed, and there is nothing hidden that will not be known." By now the taught ones were feeling very scared. They certainly didn't want to be taken away by the guards as well. They all scattered and ran from the garden. Those who'd arrested Yeshua bound him up and led him to the house of Caiaphas, who was the Kohen Gadol, or the high priest that year. The sages and the elders had also gathered together at his place. Several of the elders were searching for false witnesses to speak up against Yeshua, so they could charge him with a crime and have him put to death. Many false witnesses were brought forward, but their stories did not match. Finally, they presented two men who twisted Yeshua's words. They testified the same thing, saying, "This man said, 'I am able to destroy the temple of Yah and to build it in 3 days.'" Threatening to destroy the temple was a very serious crime. But that is not exactly what Yeshua had said. You see, many months before, Yeshua had cleared all the merchants out of the set-apart area. And when the Pharisees had asked him what sign he would give to prove he had authority to do such a thing, Yeshua had answered them, "Destroy this temple, and in 3 days I will raise it up." But he wasn't talking about the temple made with stones. No, he was prophesying how he was going to be killed, and then rise from the dead 3 days later. The false witnesses made it sound as though Yeshua was threatening to smash the temple down. A few words had been changed, and this altered the meaning completely. Do you see how easily words can be twisted to mean all sorts of things that were never even said? Let's imagine a girl named Rosie who went to visit with her grandfather. When she greeted him, she noticed how sad he was. You see, the window in his shed had been broken, and it was a great mystery how it had come to be. But Rosie knew what had happened. You see, last time she was there, she had been throwing stones at a spider's web, and unfortunately, one of the stones had hit the glass, and Rosie was too scared to go and tell grandfather about it. During her visit, Rosie and grandfather went to a nearby park, where she overheard 2 boys talking to one another. One said, "We had a smashing time yesterday, didn't we, Peter?" "Oh, yes, we did," replied the other boy. Rosie knew at once what to do. She ran to grandfather and told him how these 2 boys were the ones who had damaged the shed window. Why, she had even heard them bragging about it. except they hadn't broken anything when they were talking about having a smashing time. They had been remembering their day at the zoo. Rosie had become a false witness against the two boys to hide her wrongdoing. The high priest asked Yeshua, "What do you say to the witnesses who speak against you?" But Yeshua remained silent. This infuriated the Kohen Gadol, who insisted Yeshua answer him. "You will tell us if you are the Meshiach, the son of Elohim," he demanded. "You have said it," Yeshua replied. "From now on you shall see the Son of Adam sitting at the right hand of the Almighty and coming down on the clouds of heaven." Caiaphas could take no more. He ripped his clothes to show his great distress and yelled, "This man has spoken blasphemy." He turned to the elders and asked them, "Do we need to hear any more witnesses? You heard him. What do you think?" All the elders replied, "He is guilty and deserves to be put to death." Well, children, that is the end of our story for today. So we will see you next time for another exciting journey in the life of Yeshua. Shalom.